So, what are some of the other ways that you're using chat these days?
One that recently impressed me was chat helped me figure out a diagnosis for an illness that I was having. Every day, the symptoms started changing, and I would just keep updating chat.
Now, did you give it some of the things that you are currently taking?
I was like, I'm a 46-year-old Caucasian female.
That's incredible. Yeah. And luckily, because of that, you were able to get the treatment sooner.
Yeah, so the rash never got like really severe for me. And I'm sure part of it's just because I started that medication so fast.
I love that. Case of a doctor at all. Welcome to a holistic dose. We've been through the plot twists, divorce, parenting, reinvention, and now we're doing midlife with way more honesty and way less BS. Think of us as your unfiltered friends, here to remind you that you're not too late, too old, or too far behind. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Jeanette.
And so today we're going to be diving into AI tools like ChatGPT and, how these tools can actually help you make your life simpler, less stressful, and perhaps even more fun. So we know that everything can feel like super overwhelming, but we promise that this is just not about replacing your brain. It's just really like, think of it as like a little sidekick here in your pocket.
ChatGPT has become such a time saver for me. I use it almost every day at this point.
I agree.
Are you using it that much?
Yeah, I'm literally falling on it for absolutely everything. So I think that one of the big things I use it for is I tend to be really wordy in email responses to people. And I have a hard time, like, I tend to talk in my emails and my text messages
Hmm.
like I would do to somebody, which is pretty wordy. If everybody who knows me has received text messages from me, they're quite long, my text bombs. So what I've even started doing is because I have a Mac laptop, my chat is connected for my texting to my computer. So before I'm even sending messages to people, sometimes I'm like, this is going to be overwhelming. I copy and paste it and I put it
Hmm.
in a chat and I'm like, make this more concise. And I do that
Yeah.
with emails too.
Yeah.
And it really just makes it more digestible. And you can set the tone in many different ways.
Yeah. I love it for rewording things for me. Sometimes I'll say, make this sound more empathetic.
Uh huh.
Or, one time I sent an email and I was like, I want them to feel guilty. I was like, I want them to feel guilty for behaving the way they did. I think it was like to an opposing counsel.
Uh huh.
And it helped me. And then I got a phone call after the email was sent and was like, I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's really great in just helping word things and get
Hmm.
the tone correct.
So, what are some of the other ways that you're using chat these days?
So many ways. One that recently impressed me was chat helped me figure out a diagnosis for an illness that I was having.
I was
And
seeing you post about that.
yes. So this was a whole ordeal. Really, it's been an ordeal for at least 2 weeks at this point. I've been sick. I'm at the kind of tail end of it, thank goodness. But it had really weird symptoms that I'd never experienced before. And
Hmm.
so I decided I was just going to start putting them into ChatGPT. So one morning I woke up and I just had this weird pain in my thigh. And I said to Jeff, like, this is really odd. It feels like my femur because it was deep into my thigh and it was like from my hip to my knee. It felt like the
Mm.
bone just kind of ached. Like, this is so strange.
You're like, this is definitely not growing pains anymore.
I've never had anything like this. So I think it was at the very beginning when I was just like, what could this be? And of course, at that point, it was like a bunch of random stuff. But then it was like every day the symptoms started changing. And
Well,
like the next day, and I can't even remember the order that the symptoms came, but it's like then it became more of like a muscle throbbing and even in my knee and in my hip and then like my lower back. And I would just keep updating chat. And at one point, chat said it's possible this could be deep vein thrombosis. And every time, I mean, it's never like I'm
right,
diagnosing you, right?
right.
It even says like I'm not a medical professional, but here's some different information. And
Now,
so it
did you
would
give
give
it
you,
some of the things that you are currently taking? You're like, oh,
yeah.
I take a
So
GLP-1 and I
yes, let
sometimes
me
inject my
even
thigh.
pull it up and I
Yeah.
can tell you what I put in here. Because I was like, I'm a 46-year-old Caucasian female. Let me find it. Give me a second. Um, and I have so many things that I've asked it that I have to really scroll through here, like create an Excel spreadsheet, nail polish color match. Let's see. Medicube mask and retinol. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I was like, I'm a 46-year-old Caucasian female. I said what medications I'm on, that my last physical, I was low on vitamin D. I can't find it. I don't even remember what else I said. But yeah, I gave it basically like this little medical history. And so then every day, or every time I had a new symptom, I would put in there. So a few days in, it was like, well, that's low on the list, but it could be deep vein thrombosis. I'm like,
Mm.
you know what? I don't think that's probably what it is, but I'd rather it get diagnosed early if it is. So I actually went to the ER, and at that point, the pain was it was like both nerve and muscular at that
Wow.
point. And so she was like, I think this is muscular. She prescribed a muscle relaxant and was like, this is a DVT.
Mhm.
Then I think it was the next day that a new symptom popped up, and my skin on my thigh was tingling. And so I put that into ChatGPT, and it said, you might want to consider the possibility of shingles.
What?
And I know, and I was like, whatever.
You're
And
like, "I'm like, you're 46 now." You're like, "This is
yeah.
more commonly in, like, 50 and up."
And it actually said, like, it's probably still, muscular with some nerve issues too, but keep this at the back of your mind.
Mhm.
And then it said, look out for a rash appearing.
Hmm.
And then the next day I updated it and said the tingling now has turned into the feel of like a sunburn. And actually I still have that going on. It's very
Really?
strange. Like, I feel like the top of my thigh has a really terrible sunburn.
Which you typically don't even really get sunburn.
No, no. But it looks completely normal. Like, it's not sunburnt. And that's when it said this is really starting to sound a lot like shingles.
Mhm.
If you develop a rash, and it kind of described it, it was like, contact your doctor right away. The next day, I saw a very small, I mean, probably the size of a nickel, maybe, just a
Uh-huh.
red mark that could have easily been a bug bite or something on my thigh. And it was actually on the inside of my thigh, not even really where the worst of the pain was.
Mhm.
And had I not been putting the stuff into ChatGPT, I would have never thought anything of it. But because it specifically said, look for this, that's when I was like, I think this is shingles. And so I made an appointment with my primary care physician, and she was like, yep, this is shingles, and was surprised. She was like, wow, that rash is really small, and surprised you came to see me so quick. And it's entirely because ChatGPT told me to look out for this. And then I was able to get the antiviral medication. And the sooner you start taking it, the more
Mhm.
beneficial it is. So, yeah, it was a really great.
That's incredible. Now, when you first went to the ER, did they bring up shingles at all?
No, and I don't think they had a reason to. But I mean, Chat
Mhm.
hadn't brought it up yet at that point, because it really was. I mean, it really presented like sciatica, but my muscles hurt too. It was very weird. So yeah, they didn't really have any reason to think that it was shingles. Usually, it doesn't present that way, I think. So yeah, it was just a little bit unusual.
Yeah, that is like crazy to me. And I think it was cool that you were able to enter in all those symptoms along the way because by the time you end up going to the doctor, they start asking you all those questions. What symptoms have you had? And
Yeah.
you're like, I can't remember because I'm focusing on
Yeah.
the pain I'm experiencing.
And I told it to make a timeline. Like, later on, I was like, go make a timeline of when I started having various symptoms. And then I did that. So, yeah, it can be really
Wow.
useful.
That's incredible. Yeah. And luckily, because of that, you were able to get the treatment sooner and not
Hmm.
have it as severe because I've heard shingles can be really.
Yeah. Yeah. So the rash never got like really severe for me. And I'm
Mhm.
sure part of it's just because I started that medication so fast.
I love that. Yeah, and along the lines of like health and wellness things, again, will strongly stress that we're not stating that people should use this in place of a doctor at all. But I think that it acts as that tool to help you keep a log of it and you just keep a
Hmm.
tab going and just keep adding to it so that you have that history of it.
Yeah. And just being given the, hey, here's some things to watch out for. I found that super helpful.
Yeah. And I think, and then you just have to also be careful because we all have those friends or family members in our lives that they start thinking it's the worst of the
Yes.
worst and go down really deep rabbit holes. This is just not our personality. So for
Yeah.
those who become obsessive, maybe it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I could definitely see how someone could get over the top with
Right.
this.
Self diagnosing. So we're not
Yes.
offering for you to do that. But, there's other areas in your health and wellness journey that you can apply this to. I've heard of people, using it to come up with exercise routines,
Mm-hmm.
especially after an injury or something, or like if you hate running, I hate running, create an exercise plan for me and I'm on this type of diet, or help me create a healthy food plan.
I could
Um,
see saying, and I've never tried this, but here are 5 ingredients I have on hand. What can I make with this?
exactly. Yeah. There's like so many different things and
I'm
it's just,
constantly finding new ways to use it. Like the
hmm
other day, I actually asked ChatGPT, I said, can you create a spreadsheet for me? Because
hmm
I am terrible with Excel. And
yep.
it said, yes, I can do that. And so I used it to create, I mean, it was very boring. It's a spreadsheet, right? But it was basically for employees at my law firm, including myself, to track our time
hmm
and be able to update it and know exactly where we're at. So it just like did all the formulas for me. And it still took a little time. Like sometimes it would kick back and there'd be like an error, how that
hmm
happens in Excel. But then I would just tell it, hey, there's an error in this cell and it would fix it. Much easier than doing it myself when I'm not an Excel pro.
Absolutely. One tip and recommendation I do have is because I've gone down this route where I'm using it extensively and I have a long kind of thread going and I just type up a really long prompt for it. And then something happens and it disconnects and I lose it. So I like to always keep a notes document open or a Word doc. And I kind of try to start getting in the habit of writing the prompt in there. So in case it
Yeah.
happens to disappear, you just didn't invest this time.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is that you can label them and you can go back to them. You can put them in projects. So I'm doing that now as I'm building out a bunch of brands. And even for the podcast, it already has that frame of reference. And the more information that you feed it, and I speak to it like a human. The
Hmm.
more it knows and it learns your style so that you can go back and say, like, as we talked about previously with
Yeah.
this, I talked to it like a friend. Do you say please and thank you?
I do, which apparently is ruining the environment. Have you seen
Really?
that? Yeah,
No.
I've seen some articles that like this is how much energy we're using up just by saying please and thank you to
Are
Chat
you
GPT.
serious? I
Yeah.
can't like not. It's like,
I know, I know. After I asked it to do the Excel spreadsheet, or I asked if it could do Excel, I was like, "Oh my God, I love you." And then it like responds like, "Oh, I love you too." And it's like that's kind of weird,
you
but
can always, yeah, there, I have not tried it yet, but you can always ask it like what it thinks of you.
yeah, I've done some silly ones like that, but it's amazing and also kind of scary that it learns you. And so it
Mm-hmm.
does learn like my way of speaking
Yep.
and so I'm able to like I've actually had like, my marketing company get me like copy for stuff or like a script for a video and I'll put it in Chat GPT and say, reword this to sound more like me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy because it's like it's learned me so well that it's able to sound like me quicker than I could have done it myself.
I am glad you mentioned that. So there's a podcast that I love and I listen to, My First Million, and they have really great interviews with different business leaders and startup CEOs and such. And they did talk about that on there once where you can basically make a clone of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of scary. So say like, I'm just going to throw it here. We live in Atlanta. Spanx is based here. Sarah Blakely, we all love her as a female entrepreneur. Say you were building a brand for yourself, right? Let's say another clothing brand, and you really want to embody her persona and her values and everything. You could basically build a whole chat version of her by taking all of her past interviews. You can put in there links to that. If she's written a books,
And you can
podcasts,
upload these
everything.
things. Like you can just click as an attachment. Like I've done that, like upload an entire webinar and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah. So
articles
you,
about someone and
yeah,
yeah.
so you can build a carbon copy of yourself, and then it basically knows you more than you know itself because it has a
Mm-hmm.
whole history of articles you've written, interviews you've done, everything. And then you could basically go, I'm working on this new brand. Give me advice as if it were that so it
Mm-hmm.
has Sarah Blakely's tone. I've not tried it yet, but I thought that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's very cool. I mean, it's so we don't even realize like how powerful of a tool this is, but it's also only as good as the prompts that you put in, which I
Exactly.
don't think that's what people are realizing
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to get crap from it if you're not putting in very tailored prompts. So
Yep.
you have to talk to it about, exactly what is the purpose, what is the tone, what are you hoping to achieve? And the more information you can give it, the
Mhm.
better you're going to get as the output from it.
Yeah, and one of the greatest hacks that I learned recently was before you even go to create your own prompt, you give it the scenario and then you say like, create the prompt for me.
Mm. Yeah, I've never tried that.
Yeah, that alone. And then you can say like 10x it. Or there's also the deep research button where it will go deeper and provide you backlinks to things that you're looking for. I mean,
Hmm.
it's just, I've learned to just talk to it like a human.
Yeah.
And
It was interesting that I'm seeing our kid, so Logan, who's
mhm,
15, uses it instead of Google. And
yes.
and which like kind of blew my mind. The other day he and I were talking. My parents live up in North Georgia on a
Hmm.
lake. I mean, this is like a really boring topic, but I told him, "Oh, the dam needs repaired, so this lake is going to be drained and it's supposed to
Hmm.
last for like 3 years and that's going to suck." And so he had questions about it. And instead of Google, you think, "Oh, you go Google." No, he pulled up ChatGPT and was like, "Tell
Hmm.
me about Lake Chattooga." And it gave like all this information on like how long the
Wow.
project was going to take. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And it's crazy that's like, the first thing he thought to go to was ChatGPT.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's become honestly the new form of Google. And I know that there's like
Mm-hmm.
different platforms for chat. So I've heard recently, but to be honest, I'm only familiar with ChatGPT, but there's also like Claude and
Yeah.
Gemini. And again, this is going to take me doing a little bit digging, but it says when I did a quick look that chat excels at versatility and multimedia features like image generation, actually does pretty good real-time information access, and Claude is stronger for in-depth text analysis
Interesting.
and complex writing and long-term or long-form content. So yeah, I think trying out a couple of the different versions to really see what works for you. I
Mm-hmm.
know that if there's anybody out there who hasn't tried it yet, it did look kind of scary and foreign to me when I started
Yeah.
using it last year. And I was like, it looks like coding, but it's really just a simple format.
Yeah, because it's like blank. And so you're like, what am I supposed to
What
do
do I
with
do
this?
with this?
So for me, the introduction I had to it had just come out, and this guy was doing just these like free little kind of webinars on how to use ChatGPT. So I
Hmm.
did that with my entire law firm team, and it was so I think that could be helpful. I'm sure there's like YouTube videos. They're like, here's how to use it. And so watching it and it really is kind of like talking to a person, but
It
I think
is.
just seeing the examples can help you realize, oh, here's some ways to use it and how
Like how to
simple it
put it into
is.
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like everything from, vacation planning to other work scenarios. Oh, I know that like I've had to do this myself personally where I'll tend to get in my feelings about things and you go and I'm easier to express myself fully in written words. So really going at this and having it understand the audience that it's going to. Is this the work email? Is this a personal email? To which tone to take it in? And it's really helped me navigate that. And I'll ask it its opinion. Like, does this sound too, defensive? Does this
Mm-hmm.
sound, or it'll say, do you want it to sound more firm? I'm like, yes. Or do you want it to sound more professional? No. Yes. Like all those things along the way. I've used it to help me read legal documents.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me a quick skim of this and tell me, like, break it down in layman's terms? Of course, again, I'm not advising to not use lawyers for things. Obviously, you're a lawyer, but just to get an overall grasp on things,
Mm-hmm.
it's like really helpful.
Yeah. And then that is something that people have to be careful about.
Hmm.
I mean, it does make stuff up. So in some ways it's silly. Like the other day I put some screenshots of clothing that I had bought and was like, build a capsule wardrobe. And I
Hmm.
want visuals of it. And in some of them, it's like I had different shoes on each foot. Or one of them, like I had a purse that I didn't own. And I had to be like, I don't have that. Like you made that up. But it does that with the more serious stuff too. And
Yes,
I have had clients it right now, and I do think that AI is going to replace a lot of people in the
absolutely.
legal field, but it is not there yet. And I have clients who will try to draft something and then send it to me. And it's funny because they don't tell me how they got it, and
Mhm.
it is so obvious
Right.
because it sounds amazing. Like if you're a lay person and you read this, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna sound so smart. But
Right.
if you're a lawyer and you read this, you're like, this is asking for legal relief that doesn't exist in Georgia, right?
Exactly.
And so that's the problem that I'm seeing with trying to do something. And I'm sure with like the healthcare diagnosis and all that, that's like
Absolutely.
a doctor looking at, how I'm using Chat GPT will see like, okay, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So that's why you still, right now, we still need these professionals. I am following like AI in the legal world
Mhm.
because, there's been times where I'm like, I want a clause, like if it's some kind of clause for a settlement agreement that isn't typical,
Mhm.
I've asked it to draft stuff for me, and it's been pretty darn impressive and
Wow.
saved me time where it drafts a clause that kind of is generally what I wanted it to do. So I do think that we're going to get there, and I'm like following like what's available. And then of course you have to worry about like confidentiality. Like I can't go put client information in Chat GPT because
No.
that's not secure. So that's something else
Exactly.
to think about. And it's discoverable. I'm getting very legal, but you go
Mhm.
putting personal information into Chat GPT, if you're part of a lawsuit, that can be found.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that you kind of have to be careful in that, but it's not really good at coming up with like brand new ideas, and we talked about that in another episode, but it is really good with just pulling out of things that you might not normally have thought about and just prompting it along the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good at like organizing your thoughts. Like for our pharmacy that we're building, we wanted to provide like a factual tip sheet on like here's the order to do your injection, and we had a rough copy of somebody asked us to design this from, and I'm like something seems off. I didn't really know, and I put it in there, and I'm like, please help me review the content that was provided to me and make any suggestions. And it completely organized it in a flow that was like before starting your injection, during your injection, after. So it made it more easier to flow for for the end consumer. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that is really good. But to your point, yeah, really double checking to make sure what it is saying is accurate because
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
I
a
once
lot of
had a
that.
client who took text messages between them and their spouse over like a long period of time,
Hmm.
uploaded it, and then asked for like a summary of the things that they tend to argue about.
Oh, that's
And that was
interesting.
super interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
I can say, like, in the creative aspect of not my creative world, but my creative life, I have used it before in dating. So I think, we're all trying to stand out, get more attention, but move things on quicker. And sometimes I tend to be just more like focused and I forget to be playful.
Yeah.
And so I've sent you guys that before where I'm like, come up with like a witty, flirty reply to this because I'm just not that good,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I do that for like responses on social media. Like if I want to be
Yes.
snarky and, because I post a lot on TikTok, and sometimes I'll
Mm-hmm.
get some angry, nasty person making a comment to me. So I've asked ChatGPT like, and I'll screenshot it. I just take a screenshot of,
Uh-huh.
Facebook or the TikTok comment, and I'm like, write a response, and it gives me some options.
And I'm going to say this tip because not everybody know this. I don't even know if you know it. When you screenshot things, yeah, you can upload them. But if you ever wanted to like screenshot something, at least on an iPhone, I know, you hold down on the copy and it becomes copy and pasteable. Do you know that?
Oh, I don't think I've ever done
On
that.
your images,
Mm-mm.
any images you have on your phone, yeah, you just hold down on the copy area and you can copy it.
Very
So if you
cool.
didn't want to upload the
And
images.
then
Mm-hmm.
some fun things I've used it for, like I used AI to do our law firm headshots, as you know,
Yes, they
not
came out
Chat
amazing.
GPT, but yeah, I mean, have new employees,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a new website together, and so I kept trying to get a day and time that would work for everybody for
Mm-hmm.
headshots, and it was just impossible because we're a remote team, and we have people who live like 2 hours from where I live. And I'm like, this is a nightmare. So I'm like, you know what? It's okay if we don't have a group photo. I used AI. I was really impressed by it. But then in my AI headshot, I was like, I love what it did with my nails. And
Yes,
so
you got an
then
idea.
yeah, so then I took a screenshot of that. I uploaded that to ChatGPT and was like, "I love the nails here. How do I achieve this look?" And the response was awesome. It gave me like all these different like, OPI and bubble bath. It gave me like the brands and the color
I love
and
that.
different options. Same with jewelry that I wore with that a cocktail dress the other day. I took a
Oh,
screenshot of the dress that I bought and said, "What jewelry should I wear?" And it gave me different options. So
yeah, it
it's
was like
incredibly
pearls would be
helpful.
great with this, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
And it
like
was like, I wouldn't wear a necklace. I'd wear, pearl earrings and a bracelet. And
because the dress had like a statement bow in the middle.
yes.
So
Yeah.
that's always like it's hard to know where do you balance. Do you wear the necklace and the bracelet and the.
Yeah. I used it to help me pick out the color of the Longchamp, I don't even know how to say it, La Playage tote or whatever that I bought. I was trying to
Oh.
pick a color, and so I took screenshots of the different colors, and I had already uploaded the pictures of what I had already bought. So I'm like, what
Mm,
goes with my wardrobe best? Does this color really work as a neutral? What is the goes with most of my stuff? And
right.
yeah, it gave me feedback on that.
That's awesome. There's so many great tips, I feel like. And then even things with like vacation planning.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really helpful, like looking for things to do, household and parenting. So I think there's a lot of areas to navigate there. So it's like birthday party ideas you think about, or conversation starters, shopping lists. I mean, the list goes on. There's this mom that started like a business where she teaches other moms like how to use chat. So I'm sure there's like a lot of groups available. We'll drop it in the show notes too to follow people because you get creative. And this is why we wanted to share some of these ideas because we were learning things every day. Like, how can you use this as a tool to make life
Mm-hmm.
easier?
I've used it to come up with like what colleges should our kids apply to and be like, this is their
Wow.
grades, this is their kind of personality, their SAT score. And then for Logan's, like, because we're trying to figure out like what is he even interested in doing.
Hmm.
So for researching careers, I put in the prompt of, and this is how specific I'll give you the prompt. I said, what are the best career options based on one, the likelihood of finding a job in the US, two, income, three, job satisfaction, for a person with a B average and then I describe him, who's outgoing, friendly,
Hmm.
enjoys science, building, putting things together, has lots of energy, would likely enjoy a job that involves some moving around instead of sitting at a desk, and requires no more than a 4-year degree from a state school. I mean, that's how specific the
Yes.
prompts should be. And then the responses were like amazing. I mean, it gave me like, I don't know, 8 different
Wow.
options. And I'm like, whoa. And it like schools and how much they make. And yeah, it was pretty
That
incredible.
just gave me an idea. Well, actually, two things. That makes me think like you could basically create a folder or a project on each one of the kids, right? And then feed it the information so that it knows. So along the time that you have that case study essentially on them so they could help answer you better. I think that's really cool. But yeah, Gabby is working on this project now. She has to come up with like this personal project for her AP class. And she really wanted to do it on something that was related to a future career that she wants. And she couldn't find something. And I'm just like, I just realized now we can just go and ask chat, like put this input in there. Say, these are the types of careers she's interested in. Here's the project. Help me
Yeah.
come up with some ideas. And it's, again, it's not used to replace your brain. So many people are
Yeah.
worried about it. There's going to be so many new careers. But the reality is, for those who don't get on this boat, or
They're going to be
this
left
ship or
behind.
plane so
Mm-hmm.
fast because it's moving like a rocket. Yeah, absolutely
Mm-hmm.
left behind. So you have to find out ways to incorporate it so that you can spend more time being creative
Yeah.
and doing the things you love.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some of the areas that I feel like we wanted to share that can help you in, health, work, and daily life. There's so many out there. And just as a reminder that you do not need to be tech savvy to use this as all. I tell people all the time, it's just like you're having a conversation with a friend.
Yeah. It really is that simple.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, whether you're juggling work, family, or trying to make sense of midlife, remember that ChatGPT can make things a little bit lighter and a lot more manageable. At least it has for us. And to know that, We hope you're enjoying listening to this. We're going to do a fun little episode next time where we're going to be answering these prompts live in there and seeing what the results can be, because that'll be fun. So make sure you keep listening and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at A Holistic Dose on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And visit our website at holisticdose.com for more fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with more unfiltered friend talk right here on A Holistic Dose.
See you next time.
Bye.